5:13 on a Wednesday. Hope you had a good day. We did what we thought we'd do, by the way. We jumped out of the 60s into the 70s, something we had not done over the last 3 days. Behind me, let's start off with an update on the Typhoon and what a monster it is. This is the visible satellite picture I showed you yesterday when there was Guam. This was the eye approaching, but it's the best visible satellite I've found out of all the imagery. So it's really, worth looking at once again. You can see the spiraling arms of the storm. Really very, very impressive stuff. Now, here is the radar before the radar lost power as the storm was approaching. And what I want you to notice, by the way, if you don't know, the storm, let me back up. The storm, here's the eye, but when it was approaching, this eye stayed offshore. The adjusted track took the center of the hurricane just north of Guam. In fact, I read some reports that the eye wall, the southern eye wall, basically kind of brushed right along the shoreline. Now, at that time, that eye wall had sustained winds. I've seen varying reports, but at least 140 miles per hour sustained. We know that the airport had a gust of 105 miles per hour, and then all the weather instruments went belly up as the storm impact hit. All the estimates were the eye wall was at least about 140 miles per hour, and it was just near the shore to barely north. Reports that the seas in that eye wall, the center of the storm, were 45 feet, just dancing seas. And we know that the storm surge has caused significant flooding. There were reports of water in an area hospital, water at the airport. Remember, the storm surge was expected to be 25 feet, and I've seen significant, well, at least widespread flooding on the island. Still, I just checked online. There's limited reports coming out in terms of, how bad it was or wasn't. But the good news is, technically speaking, this storm did not make landfall. The eye itself did not cross the island and went just barely to the north. But notice this is the eye. See where the radar is not picking up anything? That's the eye. That is not much smaller than the entire island of Guam. So that really caught my attention. Again, this was the radar picture before power went out on the island and all of the observations came to an end. Now, big time concern over this typhoon that's either on its way or it's already strengthened somewhat. And I think the projection is maybe as soon as tomorrow be back up to 150, 155 mile per hour sustained wind. So that is a very, very strong, headed toward a Cat 5, would be a Cat 5 hurricane. Typhoon wind classifications are slightly different. Again, a typhoon basically is a hurricane. It's just that the different ocean basins on our globe have different names for the same storm, if that makes sense. Okay, anyway, here's Guam. The storm has now left, and here it is moving there's Taiwan, there the Philippines, of course, Manila, and then further inland, here's Hong Kong, and there is China. So lots of land masses at stake, and it is believed that this typhoon may not weaken much, at least as it approaches the Philippines and Taiwan. Could it split those? I mean, the path beyond this cone that you see right there is not that certain. But that is your update. And this is Typhoon Mawar. It's an easy Google search to pull up. I looked at weather.com, which is the Weather Channel's website, for information. They had some great stuff on it. And CNN's website, it's posted all over the front of their website. So there's additional information you can find. I kind of hit what I thought were the highlights of it. Okay, what about today? Well, we started off with morning clouds in most, not all, but many spots. And then everybody got sunshine. Here's the inn at Otter Crest. I grabbed this image just a little bit ago down in Lincoln County. Just beautiful sunshine there. The east side of the Willamette Valley and the east side of Clark County were the last ones to clear out today, along with Astoria up on the north coast. But they have cleared out. There's Camas Meadows after a cloudy morning. It was still cloudy at noon here, but beautiful sunshine. And again, that is the tale. With the warming sun, we did jump up into the 70s. These are the 5 o'clock temperatures. So here in the valley, Portland 75. I'd forecasted 74, so beat my forecast by a degree or two. The high might end up being 76. We'll see when the climate report comes out. Pretty much normal, right? Salem 73, Vancouver 73. Out in the Gorge, Cascade Locks was 71. Hood River was basically the same as Portland, 75. And the Dalles out in Wasco County hit 80. Haven't had much wind today. I noticed at my house up here in Vancouver, we've just started to see some breezy west winds. And keep in mind, and if you've lived in other mountainous areas, you know this to be true. when you have a valley and you have mountains, the heating during the day is not equal. And as you have warm air in the valley that produces, a rising air mass, that air actually kind of moves up the mountains and then it'll reach a point that will start sliding back down. So you have all these little kind of bubbles of air that keep shifting because the heating of the day is not even, because the land mass is not even, if that makes sense. So you don't always get late day breezes, but it's pretty common that you can. And this is what we did at the coast today. It was right around 60. Astoria at 5 o'clock, 61. They got up some sunshine, as I mentioned, after being slow to clear. Lincoln City, 61. Newport and Yaquina Bay, 59. A lot of people down in Lincoln County go, hey, there's no way we were that cool. That weather station, that temperature is there in the bay, right along the water, and that's why it can be significantly cooler than most people are saying they were, okay? All right, here's what's going on. Satellite picture. We've been talking about this upper level low forever, right? Well, there she blows. It's been just kind of migrating around Oregon and Washington, strengthening, weakening, the last couple of days. Now it's up into Washington. This is expected to just nudge itself this way a little bit off to the east tomorrow. Well, my nudge flipped the weather map. And it no longer looks to me like it's going to present any chance of rain here in the valley or on the west side. We're not going to get to see this ridging of high pressure. Wow, is that going to come in? No, we just kind of, oh boy, it keeps bouncing off my shirt. The flow pattern, I think, is going to split, which will weaken this low, but we never get a big ridge coming in. Now, because of that, our temperatures never really go crazy and overly heat up. So it's going to continue to be pretty comfortable all the way into your Memorial Day weekend. I do want to show you real quick. This was all the lightning activity today. Wow, right? Nevada, and there's a very southeastern corner of Oregon. Eastern Washington, yes. But the rest of the Northwest, no, until you get down to Nevada, you get over to Idaho, and then look at all the storms in Wyoming up into Montana. The weather modeling is showing at least a chance of an afternoon, evening scattered storm along the Cascades. And we expect to see more cumulus convection in central and eastern Oregon tomorrow. So tomorrow there could be at least some scattered storms in eastern Oregon, central Oregon, along the Cascades. No signs any longer that any of that will come here on the west side of the mountains. And overall, as I mentioned a moment ago, because we're not going to get a strong ridge moving in, our temperatures are going to stay pretty pleasant. Now, we started to warm up today, yes, and we'll be a little bit warmer, probably hitting 80 tomorrow. I'll show you that in a moment. But what I want to show you here, this is the latest model for Sunday afternoon, right in the heart of your Memorial Day weekend, right? I've chosen to highlight for you the 576 contour line. So the 576 contour line is kind of like the summer jet stream or the winter jet stream we really look at is 564. The 576 line throughout the entire year can be the wet dry line in terms of pressure grades. It doesn't always work out that way, but typically if you have systems coming in off the Pacific, you're not going to get rain or you're not going to get much if you are south of the 576 contour. Now, the reason I'm showing you this right now is for temperatures. The warmer air would be south of the 576. The cooler air would be to the north. Doesn't mean you're going to be cold, but it does mean, especially with some slight troughing, we see the contours, that there's no sign of any hot weather coming over the Memorial Day weekend. Most days over the weekend are going to be right here with highs up into the 70s. And if anything, we could get some low cloudiness and temperatures will be a little bit cooler. So the overall weekend still looks really pleasant. This is the old map I showed you for Sunday yesterday. Remember yesterday, this is the map I showed you. Had a little disturbance coming across. Well, the disturbance no longer is showing up. And although we're still in slight troughing, the pressure heights are a little bit higher than they were yesterday. So I canceled that chance of rain, and that was the only chance of rain I had. So there's your new 7-day. No chance of rain. Here's that warm-up, though, and so we got up into the mid-70s today, so now I'm figuring out, okay, the pressure heights are higher tomorrow, assuming we get at least the same amount of sun, about 5 degrees or so warmer. So I think we'll at least hit 80 tomorrow. We'll at least be in the 80s on Friday. And then it still looks like Saturday we get that reinforcing marine shot with westerly winds picking up a little bit. So that would be morning clouds Saturday. I probably should put that on here. Morning clouds, afternoon sun, a cool off to 73. And then just pleasant 70s now with no rain chance on Memorial Day, on Sunday or Memorial Day, and a little bit warmer Tuesday and 83 on Wednesday. I just looked, though, the American GFS model. If you go all the way out through about the 20th of June, limited chances for any hot weather. Also, unfortunately, limited chances for any significant precipitation. Doesn't mean we're not going to get any, but I don't see any likely big soaks where you just go, yeah, that's a big soak. So we'll see. Our weather really looks pretty quiet in the coming weeks. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. If you haven't, I invite you to do so, and I will talk to you soon.